another topic in here. How many of y'all have any stress in your life? Look, no, oh, one hand, two hands. I see that hand, brother. Let me see some more. Two hands. Oh, one person has double stress. She's raising both hands over here. Rhetorical question. We all have stress. Stress is a good thing. Stress actually keeps us alive. Without stress, you are dead. So that is not good. But we also burn the candles at both ends and sometimes in the middle. And that's not good either. And as the folks up here were saying, and farming is not the only occupation where this is true, but farming is an occupation where it is totally true. Farmers right now are facing the worst financial crisis that we've seen in quite some time. Between the trade markets, the stock markets, and I'm not just talking about the livestock markets, but the other stock market too, the tariffs that have gone into place, the natural disasters that have occurred, the demise of our dairy farmers in this state, well, not the farmers themselves, but the dairy farming has certainly had a hard time. 7 straight quarters of downturn. Are y'all feel a little stressed right now? Yeah, I'm stressed just talking about it. So we have to figure out a way to handle the stress. Because, now I'm going to tell you something here that's even more stressful to you. Did you know that farmers have the highest suicide rate of any occupation in America? That's true. It's because of a lot of different factors. Now, they talked about farming as a way of life, and we love it. And we do. Even though I'm not out on the farm anymore, I am rooted in that dirt. I still like to hear cows moo in the morning. But it also can work against us because we are so wedded to the land. We'll do anything for that land that sometimes it becomes a noose around our necks. So we have to learn to live in this balanced position. And we can't work day and night and day and night forever and a day. We can't go to bed with this, but most farmers live on the farm, don't we? And every window you look out of, there's work waiting to be done. That's why that vacation is not a luxury for a farmer. I want every couple to look at each other that's in here tonight and say, we will plan a vacation. And we will take the vacation. Planning is not enough. You have to actually take the vacation, or it doesn't work. It's like your antihypertensive medication, otherwise known as an high blood pressure medication. It don't work if it's still in the bottle, folks. You have to take it. So here's what I'm suggesting to all of our farmers now. Because I know you feel guilty about, that's a lot of money, and I could buy a new thing on my tractor, or I could do this, or I could fix the fence, or whatever. Yeah, you can do all that, and you will. But if you don't take care of yourself first, you won't be around to do any of the other stuff. And a vacation is the way you do that. Now, we have 50 beautiful Kentucky state parks. So we have 16, I think, that have resorts on them. If you don't want to drive out of the state or over the river, which just takes you to Cincinnati, so that doesn't count. But if you don't, you can take a vacation here in their own state, but you cannot take a vacation where you can still look out and see your property. That's not a vacation. You cannot have a staycation and be a farmer. It does not work because it takes us 3 days for our body's chemical reactions to change and our happy hormones to kick into gear. I mean, this is really true. Physiology supports this. Science supports this. It takes you 3 days to get away before you actually begin to de-stress. And we want you to de-stress so you don't dis-stress. There's a big difference there. So it doesn't have to be an expensive vacation, but it cannot be on your own farm. That's the rule. So we've had a lot of people on their way home from these farm dinner theaters to tell us that they actually planned a vacation and they took it. And I said, that's the best thing. So when you're writing down the expenses that you need for your farm next year, you're making out your budget, a budget line should be your vacation. Truly. If you don't put that in your budget line, you're going to shortchange the rest of your farming. So 3 days, just start with 3 days and you'll find out that things will last 3 days without you, despite what you think. The land will still exist and it'll still be there when you get back. So those are the two big things and I've not really heard these scripts before tonight. So I'm just talking off the cuff here of what goes on in their lives that they've shared with you tonight. And I want you to think about how that might translate into your own life. So I've given you an idea of Christmas suggestions, right? Roll bar for the tractor. Oh, no, I heard somebody up here saying, I just want a cab tractor with air conditioning. Well, if you win the lottery, you go right ahead and get that beautiful tractor in any color that you want with the air conditioning and the air ride and, all of that good stuff. But if you don't win the lottery, that's okay. A roll bar is a good thing. And if you have a roll bar on there and you have a seat belt, fasten the seat belt. Okay? If you have a tractor with no roll bar or the kind of roll bar that flips down, don't wear a seat belt. So the ones that flip down the roll bar, if that roll bar is down, don't fasten the seat belt. Roll bar's up, always fasten the seat belt. Makes a big difference on the outcome. So there's a cab tractor, there's a roll bar. Oh, you could just buy each other gift cards for the vacation, couldn't you? There you go. There's another Christmas list. You could get sunscreen, you could get a brimmed hat, and those things laying on your table there. We're going to finish up with this. Those little funny things, those little orange things that's in the package, who knows what those are? Earplugs. All right. So here's the other thing. We have scientific evidence that shows us, because I'm a scientist now, I'm supposed to be a scientist. So we have this evidence from the studies that we've done with farmers across America, and my colleagues have done this, testing the hearing of kids on farms. And we know that by age 15, farm kids who actually do work on the farm have a higher rate of hearing loss than any other group of kids. And the reason that is, no, you're not going to get out of farming. You're not going to get out of the work. What are you talking about? We're just going to change the work a little bit. Because the things that we assign to our kids to do on the farm are usually what? Weed eating. That's a pretty innocent thing, isn't it? Where's the motor? Right there. Right there is a little, all that noise is right there by their ears. Even younger than that, mowing the yard. Okay, if you're on a riding mower, lots of noise. The rule of thumb is, if you have to raise your voice to be heard, more than if you're standing more than 36 inches from somebody, so at 36 inches, if you have to raise your voice to be heard, you are damaging your hearing without hearing protection. So that's an easy rule to go by. So those little earplugs can help you a great deal. And for those of you who say, well, I've already lost most of my hearing, it doesn't really matter. Well, it does, because you can prevent the rest of it from going, which is really important. And the way you do that is you put those little things in your ears. Now, there's a certain way to actually put them down in there that makes them work better, but you roll them up real tight with clean hands, hopefully, and you pull out this part of your ear and you stick that little thing down in there. And then you'll hear them kind of expand a little bit. And what I've heard a lot of farmers tell me was, I'm not wearing those things because I can't hear the load on the motor. Wrong. You can actually hear much better with the earplugs in place. I want you to go home tonight, and when you lay your head on the pillow, I want you to just lay there for a few minutes, and you'll probably either hear your refrigerator cut on or your heat pump cut on. And that's because, and you'll hear it much more than you would if you were just sitting up, and that's because when you lay your ear on that pillow, you're closing the way the sound is conducted down your ears, so your pillow acts a little bit like that earplug would, and you can hear those sounds much more. Now, they're very annoying at night, aren't they, when you hear those things? But that's a way I can tell you that you can hear better with the earplugs in than you can with them out. So that's a great stocking stuffer. You can buy these at Walmart. Go back to the hunting part of Walmart, and you can buy them with the bushels. And you put those little things everywhere. You just plant them like little seeds. You put them in your truck. You put them on your tractor. Stick them in your pockets. Yes, they will go through the washer and dryer because I've got a lot of pairs that prove it. So they're really, really cheap, and they're really, really a good investment. So it's a lot cheaper than hearing aids, and they work a lot better to protect your hearing than it does to try to correct it later on. So those are some things that you learned about the farm tonight. You've learned it's hazardous work. You've learned a lot of your friends have had some really close calls. You've learned that maybe one or two of them didn't make it through their close calls. You've heard stories about four-wheelers, the importance of helmets, the importance of letting each other know where we are. Be accountable. You've learned about skin cancer. This is sounding so depressing. You've learned about something even more depressing. So if you have a friend or a neighbor farmer and they say something like, I don't think I can get up in the morning and face this again. What's the mantra in America right now? If you see something, say something. The mantra for farming right now and all the stress we're going through is if you hear something, say something. So if you hear your fellow farmer make a comment like that, it's time for you to grab 2 cups of coffee and a chair, and you sit down with him and you say, tell me what's on your mind. Are you thinking of hurting yourself? We have to step up. It's a hard conversation to make with people, but that's what we do for each other because we're farm people. We're there for each other. We are neighbors helping neighbors, and we always have been. So these are some ways tonight that you've heard through the stories and the humor and things to think about as you go home. Talk about these with your friends, these subjects that we've talked about tonight, with your friends and neighbors. Get the conversations going. And one other thing, it wasn't in these, but it's really important for me to tell you. The best thing you can do for your health, wait for it. The best thing you can do for your health is take a nap every afternoon. It's a fact. It is truly a fact. A 15-minute power nap, and I have been trying to tell the dean at the College of Nursing this forever. She just won't get on here, but I think I'm wearing her down now. A 15-minute power nap will energize you and make you see things in a different way. After your 15-minute nap, you take 2 or 3 good, deep, slow breaths, and it gets those good juices flowing again. You will look at things differently that afternoon on your farm work or any other job that you have. It's not just for farmers, it's for everybody. You will look at life differently if you're rested. And then focus on one thing at a time. How many of you watch MASH reruns on TV? Anybody besides me? Yeah, buddy. Major Charles Emerson Winchester. I do one thing, I do it very well, and then I move on. That will keep you out of a lot of trouble on the farm. Do one thing, focus on it, do very well, and then move on. Don't try to do 5 things at a time because God didn't make us that way. Y'all have a great night.